Hi, everyone. Welcome to the College Essay Guy Virtual College Fair. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really excited you are here. My name is Catherine, and I will be your facilitator for this session. Before we get started, we do have a few housekeeping items to note. First, your camera and microphone are off. You are muted and your video is off. The panelists can't see or hear you. If you have any questions at all, feel free to use the Q&A button towards the bottom of your screen to type in your questions to the presenters at any time. They are here, ready, and available to assist. This is one of many college presentations being offered, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/college essay guy. We are currently in session B1, where my mouse is circling at the moment. And this is the same order of presentations. So without further ado, I'll get out of the way and introduce our very first representative from Ramapo College of New Jersey.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. And so excited to be able to go first. So my name is Kelly Duran. I am one of the admissions counselors here at Ramapo College. So to kind of give you a quick kind of overview about Ramapo, so we have about 6,000 students altogether. We are the smallest four-year public school in New Jersey. We have a 16-to-1 student to teacher and faculty ratio. There's also no lecture hall courses anywhere on campus. So average class size is 21. Largest class a student will ever have is 35. So really focused, small class sizes, individualized attention, really getting to know classmates and faculty. We are also a test optional institution for all of our undergraduate majors and all of our 4+1 programs as well. So here is kind of a little bit of information, especially about all of our programs. So we have about 100 different majors, minors, concentrations altogether. So starting over on the right, so we have 5 different academic schools. So first, our School of Business. Most popular programs in there are accounting, management, finance, as well as marketing. In our School of Contemporary Arts, most popular programs are communications, music, animation, as well as theater. In our School of Humanities and Global Studies, most popular programs are English, history, Spanish, as well as political science. In our School of Social Science and Human Services, most popular program is education, psychology, criminology, as well as social work. And then lastly, in our School of Theoretical and Applied Sciences, most popular programs are biology, environmental science, computer science, as well as nursing. So over on the left has all of our 4+1 programs. So there's accounting, business administration, creative music technology, data science, social work, and then also elementary education. And then as I mentioned, for all of our programs, we are test optional. However, we do have a few joint partnership programs that students can be able to do. They can apply for when they are a high school senior, and then they will also be applying into these schools. So these are the only programs that do require students to submit SAT or ACT. So they are primarily for dental medicine, optometry, medicine, pharmacy, physical therapy, and then also for Seton Hall Law School as well. And then also for all of our majors, there are internship opportunities. Most first students will typically do at least 2 internships as well before graduation. Internships are also required for almost all of our majors. There's about 1,000 in New York City alone, about 10,000 all throughout New Jersey, and then also New York. There's also international options to be able to do internships or research or clinicals or whatever that's going to look like for your academic major. Otherwise, obviously, you're not going to be in the classroom all the time. So what is there to do otherwise? So we have a pretty active intern and study abroad program. So we have about 500 different programs globally. They can range from a week to a year-long program, and then internships in about 45 of those countries. Athletics, we have 18 Division III athletic teams, as well as intramural and club sports. And then otherwise, about 150 different student clubs, organizations. So anything from academic, social, community service-based, sororities and fraternities, as well as leadership programs. Another pretty big thing also is living on campus. Housing is guaranteed all 4 years. Students can also have their car on campus all 4 years. There's free laundry, heat, and AC in all the residence halls, and they are all set up suite style. So you're never sharing a bathroom with an entire floor of people, just specifically with the people you're going to be living with. We're also ranked #1 best college dorms in the state of New Jersey from niche.com, and nationally are ranked in the top 2%, so something we're pretty prideful of. These are 3 of our first-year residence halls. And then everything you kind of need for the application for Ramapo, pretty self-explanatory. An application, either the Common App, the Coalition app, or the Ramapo College application. Common App is most popular. High school transcript. Also, at least 1 letter of recommendation is required. Normally, we recommend students submit at least 2. Possible other things, if you're taking AP classes, if you're taking any dual enrollment classes, if you're also applying into our honors program, there's also a separate essay for that. And then our deadlines, so early decision, so students who are 120 million% sure they want to come to Ramapo, that deadline is November 1st. Early action, which is non-binding, is December 15th. And then regular decision is February 1st. Early action is also a priority deadline for students interested in nursing, biology, and scholarship consideration. And then otherwise, please feel free to be able to connect with us. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We do in-person campus tours Monday through Friday and select Saturdays. We have our next in-person open house that's going to be coming up on Sunday, October 24th. Have a pretty active virtual campus tour website. We do also Tuesday topics every week where you can learn a little bit about a different office at Ramapo. We also have a live chat feature if you just have a quick question available on our website. And then otherwise, this is all of my contact information, and then also kind of links to all those things that I mentioned. So again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Awesome, thank you. The next representative is from Hobart and William Smith Colleges.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me or joining us this evening. My name is John Sebastian. I am the Senior Assistant Director for Admissions and Director for Diversity Recruitment at Hobart and William Smith Colleges. I'm here to tell you about our small little college upstate in Geneva, New York. Hobart and William Smith Colleges is a small liberal arts institution located in the Finger Lakes region in a city called Geneva in upstate New York. We house about 2,000 students in our undergraduate population. So if you are looking for that small, individualized level of education, then Hobart and William Smith is definitely the place for you. Our student faculty ratio when last analyzed was about 9 or 10 to 1 with an average class size of about 16. Our professors were actually now rated #1 in the nation by the Princeton Review, so we're really happy about that. That just kind of gives you a level as to the attention and dedication that our faculty have towards our student and their academic enrichment. As a liberal arts institution, we have an open curriculum. There's only one required course on campus, and that is the first year seminar, which I like to call HWS 101. That just gives you an introduction into the rigors of an HWS education, as well as providing you an opportunity to establish some strong networks between not only faculty, but also your peers as well. Even though we are a small college, we offer about 45 majors and 68 minors, so there is no shortage of things to study at Hobart and William Smith. Some of our more popular areas of study include economics, media and society, psychology, English, and biology. Notable mention to our political science majors, as well as our environmental studies majors as well. One of our more popular minors is our entrepreneurial studies minor, which is run through the Bizzuto Center for Entrepreneurship. And one of the biggest draws to that program is the HWS Pitch Contest, which is HWS's version of Shark Tank. We also offer pre-professional programs, pre-business, pre-health, pre-law, which is a joint program with Cornell. We also offer pre-engineering, which is a joint program with Columbia and Dartmouth as well. And we also offer our teacher education program, which is a segue into our Masters of Arts in Teaching. So these departments and centers are just a few of the community partners that we work with at Hobart and William Smith in the Office of Admissions as well. So places like our Community Center for Service Learning, our Center for Global Education and Study Abroad, Center for Teaching and Learning, our LGBTQ Resource Center, Intercultural Affairs, and our Salisbury Center for Experiential Learning, which we call Career Services. Study abroad is really big at Hobart and William Smith. About 90% of our students participate in study abroad. As you can see from this list, from this map, I'm sorry, you will see destinations as close as Canada or as far off as New Zealand. So you can be as close to home or as far from home as you choose. We also offer short-term and long-term study abroad programs. Short-term programs range anywhere between 3 to 4 weeks, and our longer programs are a semester or a summer abroad. Community service is also really big at Hobart and William Smith. 100% of our students participate in some form of community service, whether it be locally, regionally, or nationally. We think it's a really big deal for us to be giving back to the communities that we're a part of. So varsity sports, here are the list of our rosters of sports that we have at Hobart and William Smith. We're Division III in all of our sports except lacrosse, where we're Division I, and we're currently adding more sports to our athletics roster as well. Hopefully, we should be adding another 3 to 4 within the next 2 to 3 years. So here are a few of the student clubs and organizations that we have on campus. There are about 130 of them in total, ranging from anything in nature from academic, social, religious, ethnic nature as well. So there is no shortage of ways to get involved in student life on campus. If you see something that is not on this list, we strongly encourage you to start those clubs and organizations as well. The Salisbury Center for Career Professional Experiential Education, or Career Services, as we like to call it, is one of the biggest draws to Hobart and William Smith. We guarantee an internship or research experience once you meet the requirements of our Career Services Center. Those goals are not lofty and not unachievable, so many of our students will guarantee themselves an internship in their junior year. The Pathways program is the career development plan that runs out of the center, out of the Career Center. And as you can see here, it just is a complementary program to your 4 years at Hobart and William Smith, where we talk about assessments, exploration, experience, and connections, marketing yourself effectively during your last portion of your job search, your graduate school applications as well, learning how to accept and negotiate offers with potential employers are all a piece of the puzzles of the Pathways program. So a little bit about the application process. So we have 4 rounds: early action, early decision 1, early decision 2, and regular decision. Early action dates, deadline November 15th. Early decision 1, same deadline, November 15th. Early decision 2, December 15th deadline, and regular decision February 1. Required documents, we are free on the Common App, the Coalition app, or our HWS application. School record, counselor recommendations, teacher recommendations as well, and transcripts. Admission interviews are not required, but highly recommended. We also offer a no harm testing policy, which means if you submit your scores and we find they'll actually hurt your application, we won't use them. We are test optional as well, and we have been test optional. I think this is going on year 15 now. So you do also have the option to submit your scores or not. So what are we looking for in your application? Your academic record, your course selection and rigor, your extracurricular activities, recommendations from counselors and teachers, and your level of interest in Hobart and William Smith. Standardized test scores and the interviews are not required, but recommended if possible. So here's also my information. You can feel free to contact me via email to schedule an interview. If you have any questions after today, I am more than willing to answer any questions that you might have as well. Thank you so much for having me this evening. And I think we'll pass it back on to you, Catherine.
Great, thank you. So much great information. Just a friendly reminder that if you have any questions at all, to feel free to submit those using the Q&A button towards the bottom of your screen. You are more than welcome to submit any questions throughout any of the presentations. The next representative is from the University of Delaware.
Thank you, Catherine, and appreciate everyone being here. Happy Wednesday. My name is Chuck Lydiard, and I represent the University of Delaware. We are the flagship Tier 1 research school in the state of Delaware. And a lot of the conversations I first have with students, counselors, and parents that aren't familiar with us is where we're actually located. This is probably going to be a very useful slide, because if you're in the same boat and not sure where exactly we're at, look at that blue dot that's in between 4 major East Coast cities that you probably have heard of a little bit more. But if not, let me just give you a little background. Newark, Delaware is where we're located. Our university goes back to 1743, and we're a larger public flagship school, but only with a little over 24,000 students. 3/4 of those, just a little over 18,000, are undergraduates. So being a Tier 1 research school, the professors, the internships, the research opportunities are predominantly focused for undergraduates. There's no waiting around or waiting in your turn to actually have access to anything that will help you really achieve academic and social success at Delaware. But we have a lot of social and academic urban options around us here. We're 45 minutes away from Philadelphia, close to Baltimore, New York City, and 90 minutes from Amtrak from Washington, D.C. And also, as you can see, close to the Atlantic Ocean, but we're not an urban campus. We're actually a traditional college town. And our main street, I believe, definitely distinguishes us from other colleges and universities in the area, because for all the students on here, or the counselors here that are working with students, I've never heard a student say they didn't care about their off-campus experience. They generally would like to go off campus a couple times a week. And 2 blocks from the center of our campus is Newark, Delaware's Main Street. Has 80 different unique boutiques, restaurants, and shops. Many of them are independent and unique to our town. And it's great because we have 18,000 undergraduates, about 4,400 first-year students each year. And it's good to know that there's plenty of space for our students off campus, again, a 10-minute walk from the center of campus, to spread out, to enjoy themselves. We also have a lot of really great on-campus amenities too. But one thing, over a 4-year experience, I can't tell you how much money students save by actually going to school in Delaware, because there's no sales tax in the state of Delaware. So sometimes those common everyday purchases, you do save a little bit, and that does go a long way. We have, like other flagship Tier 1 research schools, many different majors and minors to consider when applying to Delaware. Academic flexibility is really a cornerstone to the academic experience. Many of our students will add 1 or 2 different minors, or even double major, and still successfully graduate in 4 years. But our college is divided up into, our university is divided up into 8 different colleges. We have 20% that come in each year, actually, who are not quite sure yet what they want to major in. They want to go through our liberal arts curriculum and explore, and it could be after 1 semester or after 4 semesters before they formally decide. But just kind of keep that in mind. If you want to be directly admitted into one of our 155 plus majors, you can do so as a high school senior. If you want to come and not formally commit, you could do that as well. But some of our more popular and notable colleges and majors are, most recently, our new Biden Public Policy College. Biden Institute is named after our current president, and the First Lady also are undergraduates at the University of Delaware. So we have a strong emphasis on domestic and social policy issues, especially focused around gender and income equality. And our students are very heavily involved in the community with a lot of focus groups, also writing public policy positions, and we have strong internship opportunities in DC as well. Most students know us for health sciences and engineering, even though we're not just about those areas. DuPont, Dow, Gore have been in our backyard since the 70s. So chemical engineering is definitely very popular, but we have strong engineering, strong business programs as well. But our most competitive major is our direct entry nursing program. We're also very strong in physical therapy, exercise science, kinesiology, but we're also one of 4 programs that has art conservation as an undergraduate and graduate major. We're great in psychology, education, languages as well. So again, not just heavy in one particular area, but definitely a place where you could see yourself at and meet many different types of people as well. Very quickly, the Honors College, if anyone's interested, we take 600 students each year, and they're proportionally coming from all 8 of our colleges and university studies. Good news is students do not have to write an essay to be considered. They just have to check a box on the application platform. And they live together in Reading Hall in the First Year Village as a living learning community as well. We were the very first college in the United States to do a formal travel abroad program in 1923. So it's been a part of our DNA since nearly almost 100 years now. And we go to over 40 countries, have 100 plus programs, but that number continues to grow every year. One thing I like to point out is we have a very nice 6.5-week break between the fall and spring semesters that allows our students to actually take smaller travel abroad opportunities, 2, 3, 4 week in duration. These are very popular for our STEM-based students as well. These are our application parameters. Common application tends to be the most preferred way, but we set coalition. I'll put a link in the chat with regarding the SRAR because I have some really good YouTube videos for that requirement, but test optional for the next 2 years for both admission and actually merit-based scholarship. The last thing I'll mention before passing on to my next colleague, this is the #1 ranked high school youth entrepreneurship competition in the United States, the Diamond Challenge. You don't have to consider the University of Delaware to participate in this, but if you have an idea to better the world in business or social innovation, check out diamondchallenge.org. And here is my information, and it will also go in the chat. I want to thank everyone. Also, thank you, Catherine, for facilitating this, and we're going to pass it to the next presenter.
We really appreciate it. The next representative is from Rider University.
Thank you, Catherine, so much. Let me pull this up for everybody and we will get started. Oops, let's move this out of the way. Okay. Well, good evening and thank you all so much for having us. My name is Susan Mikowski and I am the Director of Undergraduate and Transfer Admission at Rider University, which happens to be a small private liberal arts school in central New Jersey. We are approximately 15 minutes from downtown Princeton, 15 minutes from the New Jersey State Capitol, an hour outside of New York City, and 45 minutes from Philadelphia. So we are truly in the heart of it all. Our location is a suburban residential community. So we blend right on in with the residential community that surrounds us. And it's a very pretty part of the state. So definitely a place to consider no matter where you're coming from. Ours is truly a community of students. They are names and faces on campus, and we believe that's what makes them so successful once they are finished at the institution. As you can see, a lot of great stats about the community, average class size being about 17 students, student to teacher ratio of 11:1. We do not use teaching assistants and we do not use graduate assistants. So we are only having you taught by the faculty who are there for you and get to know you inside and outside of the classroom. Our students are coming from diverse backgrounds and diverse geography, so 36 states and 53 countries and 2 US territories. So you will be in class with students from anywhere and everywhere, from all different backgrounds and all different walks of life. 1 in 4 of our students happens to also be a first-generation college student. So we are there to help and support you through not only this transition from high school to college, but then once you are on the college campus together with us and our community. Easy access around our area. We are 15 minutes from 3 major train stations. We are 15 minutes from the major corporate thoroughfare, which has the mall, the movie theater, the chain restaurants, etc. We have New Jersey Transit bus service that runs right out in front of campus, and we do have a shuttle service. So you can get to everything pretty easily, as well as get to those 2 major metropolitan areas without any problems. But if you'd like to bring a car to campus, certainly all students are allowed to do so. So definitely something to keep in mind. Our students are studying in approximately 70 different majors that we offer at the institution. And in a moment, I'll show you the complete list, but just be aware that all of our students, regardless of where they're studying and what major that they're focusing on, are going to be required to do some form of an internship, field experience, or research before they're able to graduate from the institutions. We really want to make sure that you are taking your major, trying it on, building that resume, and being prepared for the wonderful outcome that you're going to have once you're done with your fabulous 4 years of college. So our 70 majors of study live here in the Norm Brodsky College of Business, which is how Rider was founded in 1865. So you'll see we have about 15 different offerings under business. And again, our location is wonderful in supporting that because of being in between 2 major metropolitan areas, having all the connections with major corporations like Johnson & Johnson and Bristol-Myers Squibb and KPMG, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, you name it. They're coming after our students, again, because of that foundation in business and the dual accreditation that we have for our College of Business in not only AACSB for the College of Business, but also a separate accreditation just for accounting. Then we do have our College of Education and Human Services. So students looking to teach elementary, secondary, middle school, special ed, early childhood, ESL, bilingual, or business education, the list goes on and on and on. We have the highest accredited college of education that you can have. We do have our Westminster College of the Arts for students that want to be on or behind the stage, as well as want to get involved in things like film and TV or game design. We have 2 BFA majors in musical theater and acting, and then wonderful choral school of music for those of you thinking voice or piano or opera, music education. And then little liberal arts and sciences, home to our physical sciences like our exercise science or health science, our biology program or chemistry, to our psychology program, as well as our criminal justice and political science majors. Again, being so close to the state capitol has great perks for students in those areas. And then anything in, say, the communications field, so public relations or journalism. We're always trying to come up and making certain that our students have some career-focused preparation. So we do offer 5th-year graduation options so that if you are looking to further extend your education or that's the right path for you, those are things that you can add on as a 5th year, or any of the pre-professional programs to prepare you for your law school experience or med school, dental, etc. We believe that you are a student inside and outside of the classroom. So again, that piece of having to take on your major and try it on with an internship or field work extends past that into engaged learning in things like community service or the arts, athletics, leadership through some of our clubs and organizations. We have 150 clubs and organizations on campus, as well as 18 college club teams, intramural sports, and Division I athletics. So we do want our students to get involved on campus through leadership, but also through study abroad and sending students out and about, whether it's a full semester or 10-day trips in between the fall and the spring semesters. So there's a lot of opportunity. Of course, there's other factors to the university that I'm going to slip right through because we are being recorded and you can catch us later. Some deadlines, our average class, application, and scholarship. Thank you so much, Catherine. I will pass it on to you so that you can hand it off to the next presenter.
Great, thank you so much. Our last representative, but certainly not least, is from the College of New Jersey.
Thanks again, Catherine, and thank you everyone for joining us tonight. My name is Kevin Fay. I'm one of the assistant directors for undergraduate admissions at TCNJ, and I'm really here tonight to give those of you who may not be familiar with TCNJ kind of a brief snapshot of who we feel we are as an institution and really how the application and admissions process functions at a school like TCNJ. I'm assuming because you're all joining us tonight, it's because you haven't had an opportunity yet, at least, to visit the campus. So these next few slides are trying to, at least to the best of our ability, replicate what a normal campus tour would be like on our campus. And we, in fact, are actually less than 10 minutes away from your prior presenter from Rider University. So we enjoy the same benefits of the location in central New Jersey in between 2 major metropolitan markets. And we reside on a suburban campus as well, about 300 acres, primarily residential, meaning the vast majority of our undergraduate students do live on the campus itself. I do believe fundamentally that we as an institution represent what I would call a blended model school, in that we believe we offer the research opportunities, close mentorship with faculty, opportunities to collaborate on presentations and present at national conferences, much like many of our peer institutions that are larger research universities can offer. But those opportunities are focused more so on our undergraduate student population at TCNJ. And then, as you can see based on this slide, if you look at our average class size, really the fact that we foster much more of an active learning environment, meaning less lecture style teaching and more of you actually being involved in the learning process itself through group work, collaborations, active presentations in all coursework across all degree programs. And we find these are core characteristics and skills that benefit our graduates, regardless of the fields they're entering, and regardless of the post-grad programs that they may be entering as well. One of our greatest points of pride is that statistic you see on the bottom there, which I know, at least for myself, when I was looking at colleges and universities, I didn't even know what it really reflected, but a first to second year retention rate really reflects how happy and successful and comfortable students are if the vast majority of those students continue on at that same institution the next year. So I strongly encourage you to look at both first to second year retention rates and four-year graduation rates at the institutions that you're considering, because those are both signs of an institution that is really following through on the promise as a student, really as a family that may be investing, making a large investment in your future. And these are really data points that should be important to you throughout your college search process. Again, at the heart of it, TCNJ offers over 50 different degree programs grouped under one of 7 different academic schools. Each of the blue underlined headings you see here represent one of those academic schools. We do have direct entry majors at TCNJ, meaning you never reapply to a program as an incoming student. You apply as an applicant. If you gain admission to the institution, then day one, first semester, you are that major. And that in large part has a lot to do with our strong four-year graduation rate. But we do understand as a comprehensive liberal arts institution that there are some students who are still making up their mind about what it is they want to study. We do offer generally undeclared, or we offer undeclared within 5 of these academic schools as well. And we encourage students to take advantage of those opportunities. We also fundamentally believe in the value of co-curricular and extracurricular experiences as well, many of which you see here, many of which you just heard my colleagues from other institutions speak about as well. Again, all good signs of a healthy institution that's offering you the kinds of unique opportunities and experiences that are going to help you set yourself apart from your peers when you're moving on from those undergraduate degree programs. I already spoke to our undergraduate research opportunities, but I always like to highlight our global study opportunities as well, because again, as you've heard my peers already mention, I do fundamentally believe in the value of global study, mostly because I did not study abroad as an undergraduate myself, and it's probably one of my biggest regrets. So I strongly encourage you all to consider that regardless of the schools you end up attending. I'll talk a little bit now about the elements of TCNJ's specific application process, if you already know that TCNJ may be a good fit for you. At TCNJ, for first year applicants, students coming out of high school, really there are 3 primary options for you to apply through. We offer an early decision 1, early decision 2, and general admission process. ED1 and ED2 are binding processes. So there is a distinction between early decision and early action at other institutions. So we really only encourage students to apply early decision if they've completed their entire college search and they inevitably find that TCNJ stands out as their undoubtedly top choice. There are some benefits of that process, but again, we really only encourage students who know that TCNJ is their first choice to take advantage of those opportunities. As you can see on the right side of the slide here, TCNJ does accept both a common application and coalition application. We don't have a preference between the two, and you follow the same timeline regardless. You'll see highlighted here some unique programs, depending on the academic program that you're interested in, that you can apply through. We do have accelerated 7-year programs in medical and optometry programs, and we have a brand new combined, it's actually a 4+3 program in physical therapy in conjunction with Jefferson. We do try to highlight the importance of a high school transcript more than anything else, because that's the longest running academic record for you. And we find it's the truest indicator of your potential for academic success. But we also look at the following criteria that you see listed on these next two slides. We are a holistic review office, meaning all parts of the application will ultimately have an impact on your final admissions decision. But we try to most especially focus on that official high school transcript. We did recently go test optional, like many of our peers. So it is totally up to the students, at least until the graduating class of 2023, whether or not they choose to include a standardized test score. The only exceptions to that rule are the 7-year programs that I just spoke to earlier. And then finally, if you feel TCNJ may be a good fit, we do have 2 remaining open houses on October 17th and November 20th. You can opt to explore the campus on your own using our self-guided tour, or you can take advantage of our virtual tour.
Awesome. Thank you all. This was so much great information. We do have some time left. And so at this point, we're going to go ahead now and pivot into our Q&A portion of this session. If all our representatives at this time can go ahead and turn on their cameras to get ready to unmute themselves. And we'll go ahead and start with our first question here, which is, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? Again, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? And we'll go ahead and get started in the same order in which you all presented it.
So my biggest piece of advice is to really sit down with your family and have an honest conversation of what finances are going to look like, to be able to figure out what schools and what you're going to be thinking about, especially as you start reviewing your financial aid packages, when you start getting scholarships and awards and grants, so that you already have an idea of what that is going to look like for your family, instead of, you know, February, March, April, when you're trying to make your final college decision, and that's an entire stressful time. So having that conversation early.
Hey, John. He may not be right there. We can go ahead and jump down to University of Delaware.
No worries. Thanks for the question, Catherine. And the piece of advice I would just like to give is there are many elements of this process that cause stress. So for the parents, the counselors, and the students, just know that there are some elements that are within your control, that you can definitely control the process and how you react and how you take everything in. And then there's some elements about this process that you just absolutely can't control. So my advice is don't sweat the things that you can't control, but just own the processes you can control. So some of the things you can't control, obviously the amount of where you apply to school and the amount of schools you apply to, what you're putting into your essays, what majors you're applying to, and how much research you put into these schools beforehand. But you can't control how schools evaluate the processes. We've had great presentations here on what we're looking for, but there are still schools out there that people cannot figure out how they admit the class each year in, year out. So just try for those schools, but just remember that if you put your best foot forward, don't stress out more than what you can, and just try to be prepared and enjoy the process as much as you can.
I think my piece of advice kind of goes off of Chuck's, which is to use your resources. So as you are working through the pieces that you can't perhaps control, it's finding those people that can answer the questions for you and help you through the process, and help make this a little less stressful. So the folks that are in the space right now, we work at that particular institution. Use us if you're considering applying to any of us, so that we can help you answer the specific things. And then track that, because I think that's where a lot of the stressors come in, is that we all sound the same, or we all have similar answers to things, but we'll all start to blend together. So create some kind of document or spreadsheet that you can track this information and the things that are super important to you. You know, does the school have a Wendy's? Do you care if you can bring a car? Where exactly are they located? How far is that from grandma? Like, whatever it is that's really specific, you know, use the resources, ask those questions, and then keep track of those answers so that you can refer back to them later and kind of refresh that memory.
My number one tip for students, if you're anything like I was when I was looking at colleges, especially as a first generation college student, I often felt stressed that I didn't know specifically what I was going to be looking for out of a college or university. So I often recommend that students try to do the reverse at the start of it if you find yourself in a similar position, meaning as you start to research schools or visit schools, start to find characteristics tied to an institution that you know are not a good fit for you. And as you realize what those characteristics are, use that as a determining factor to help whittle down your list of schools that you're willing to consider. Like, if you can't picture yourself potentially in a city, navigating a city and being comfortable in a city setting, maybe you shouldn't be considering city schools. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try to visit one to check it out to see if it's a good fit. But again, just try to reverse that process to make it a little less stressful and anxiety ridden as it is for a lot of students.
Great. We'll see if John can join us for this question. If not, we can jump to the second one and hopefully he can get there. No worries. We'll keep moving along. But no, thank you so much. It's so much great advice. And it's helpful to hear suggestions and tips from those who work at the respective institutions. And so we appreciate that great advice. Our next question here is, what's one thing you want students to remember about your school? Again, what's one thing you want students to remember about your school?
I can jump in on this question. I'm sorry, my internet is moving very slowly, so I'm getting a really bad lag. What is one thing I want students to remember about Hobart and William Smith is that we are dedicated to the student experience from admissions all the way through and after graduation. We are committed to the success of our students, both academically and co-curricularly as well. And you will definitely see that from the application process right straight on through. You will see the level of dedication not only that our staff has to our students, but the faculty as well. You will see the commitment that we have with in terms of the level of community that we serve and the level of community that we have on campus as well, in making sure that our students have a positively memorable experience at Hobart and William Smith.
I would say the biggest thing is we very much believe in being as personal as possible, whether that's phone call, text message, email, virtual appointment, meeting us on campus. However you want to connect, we are there for you. And that starts from the admissions office, but that continues the entire time that you're at Ramapo. Is you are always going to be a name, and you are always going to be able to have someone in your corner in whatever office it's going to be able to help you as well.
Okay, a lot of times people ask us our mascot, so let's talk about it. We are the Fighting Blue Hens. Our mascot is a blue chicken, yes, but we're fierce and mighty. We actually go back to the Revolutionary War, and the Delaware 1st Infantry has a unique history with the Blue Hens. We actually raise them on our campus in our College of Agricultural and Natural Resources. And yeah, one thing that we are is fierce and fighting, but one thing we are is supportive too. And I think that if you go around the country, even the world, and see our alumni base, the Blue Hens are really looking out for each other. And that just transcends through this in school student experience and even afterwards.
I think at Rider, the thing I'd like you to remember is not only that we are a community for, for you to assist you as a student in all aspects of that, but that we invest in our students. So whether that's, the reduction in tuition that we did last year to help lift a barrier in attending a private institution, or the commitment that we make that if after you graduate and you aren't able to locate employment within 6 months, that you can come back for free coursework or find another paid internship as a graduate student, or use the alumni network, that we're truly there to invest in you as you transition through the admissions process, but then through the navigation office that we have for those first year students. We just want to invest in your success, and being the community atmosphere that we have kind of supports that hand in hand. So that would be what I would suggest.
And I believe I touched on this during my presentation itself, but at TCNJ, we understand the significant investment that students and their families are putting into a college education. And we fundamentally believe that the outcomes that are resulting from TCNJ's experience, which more and more schools now are publishing 1 year out surveys, which I highly recommend everyone on the call to check out for each particular institution, to really see the end result of the experience, undergraduate experience, at least at each of these institutions, to know that the dollars you're investing in the front end are being spent wisely, and that students are coming out prepared and ready to enter the workforce or enter graduate school.
And that is truly a great way to end. I really like that question because it does speak to the institution and what they believe in. And a question like that kind of resonates with you. It leaves a mark, and it wants you to feel based on that, you want to figure out which school really resonates with you the most. So thank you to all our representatives for being here, for sharing, again, all great information, and we really appreciate your time. And thank you to each of you for joining us. We have now reached the conclusion of this session. As we close, there'll be a very quick 5-question survey that will appear on your browser. If you don't mind taking a moment to fill that out for us, your feedback is extremely helpful. This is one of many college presentations being offered, so feel free to check the schedule on the website for more. And lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available at strivescan.com/college essay guide. Thank you all and have a great night.